Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first actual, virtual edition of Dinger Ball. I mean, we're also going to be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, your mom's radio. We're going to be on it all. So it doesn't really matter. But still,
Nice.
this is a virtual episode, and you're going to see our faces for the first time. So tune in to YouTube and check it out. Unedited. So we're both going to be good today. But anyway, I'm with Jacob, or Henny, or also the Ginger, as some would call him. How's it going?
Logan, it's good. It's going well. Glad to be on here with you talking baseball again. Obviously, we're getting closer and closer to hopefully a start to the season. Who knows what's going to happen now, but I've been hearing a lot about early July. So real excited to be pushing closer and closer to baseball season and hoping that everything starts. How about you? You excited for baseball to start up again, hopefully soon?
Well, if you can't tell by the glove right now, I am ecstatic for baseball season. And also, if you can't tell, I'm really, really excited just for baseball in general because I have been in psycho depression mode today watching all the baseball that I could possibly watch. So with that, I've been watching a lot of Rob Friedman, Pitching Ninja. Just kind of to get my mind off the fact that baseball isn't a thing right now. Hashtag love the drink, though. Love the drink. But if I had to say anything, though, I was watching Pitching Ninja just to, get my mind off of all this stuff. Sandy Koufax, man. Whew, dog.
Dude,
Imagine if he was in today's baseball.
I think he would still be just about as elite as he was back then. I mean, obviously, there's a little bit different. The hitters are a little bit better nowadays, but he was still a top-level pitcher, and he's a great baseball mind in general. So I think that he'd be able to adapt to just about anything. So, obviously, yeah, he was really good. I've been watching a lot of Friedman, too. He's got a lot of really good videos out there. I've also been, obviously, follow Trevor Bauer.
Okay, how could you
not as much
him?
About baseball, but that's just because he's hysterical too. He's one of the funniest guys on. He's one of the funniest guys on Twitter. He's outspoken. He says whatever he wants. I think that man has little to no filter, and I love it.
I'm here for him. Honestly, even though he's a Red, and I literally hate the Reds, I still love Trevor Bauer. If you can throw a ball over the center field fence with ease after throwing 6 innings, dude, I don't care. You're my favorite player. He's my favorite player.
Awesome. That was awesome watching that. Did you see when they did launch angle, they did max velocity, all the other stuff on that? That was hysterical. It was like a home run ball, except for he had the extra 60 feet closer to the fence.
And he still threw over the fence by a good margin. So
yeah,
you put him at home plate, that's still a home run. I don't care.
He launched that thing.
After 6 innings, I think that most people don't understand what 6 innings does to your body.
Oh, it hurts.
Dude, that, even if you're a below average thrower and you're throwing 80 miles an hour, that still hurts.
No matter how much you train your arm, it still is painful. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. Your arm's not designed to throw a baseball. That's not a motion that your arm is designed to do. Your arm is. It works. It just works, but it's not designed to throw a baseball. It's not designed to be over the top like this, throwing the ball downhill, because it puts stress on every part of your body. And actually, this is cool that we're doing video now because, you can see it. It puts stress here a lot, and if you throw it here, you get up top, put stress in this area as well.
Exactly. So with throwing, just in general, the amount of stress it puts on your body, dude, that's crazy to think about. That you could be sore in so many different places. So whenever I would throw, I'd be sore, obviously, on the shoulder, just because that's a normal place. I was really high over the top. But also, your lat and then your elbow, too, on top of that. It's just, dude, how is throwing a thing? And why do pitchers pitch? Why don't they just throw underhand? Why don't they just, give soft toss like softball? No offense to softball players, but
I mean, it's just I don't like it's whoever created the game. This is how you do it. It's like the same thing. Like why like you can ask that question with any sport though. Like you can ask why do cricket players go straight arm over the top like this? Why do you
they're
kick
stupid.
a soccer ball with your feet? Why do you throw a football and hand it off? Like why do any of these sports work that way? But it's just it's a game and it's designed to be a game. It's designed to be fun. And baseball is fun. Like these guys don't play at the major league level just because they're talented enough, they're good enough. They also love the sport and they love playing baseball. They have fun being out there, and that's the other part that uh, makes all the pain, all the problems you had that come with pitching worth it.
Okay, I'm gonna take you a little trip down memory lane, just for fun because why not? We have a little bit of time. So baseball started, and the pitcher was originally supposed to throw the ball down the middle of the plate. It's like, when you're playing with your friend and you play on Rookie on MLB The Show just because, like, you're both really drunk and you're both like, well, we both can't hit the ball, so it doesn't really matter.
A lot
And
for
you're
root
both
beer.
throwing the ball down the middle, and you're like, the sole objective of this game is to score 30 runs, all right? So that's how baseball started. Baseball started where you weren't supposed to deceive the batter. You weren't supposed to really do anything outside of throwing a fastball. You just threw the ball down the plate, kind of like slow pitch softball. And then as time went along, baseball evolved into this game. I think it was because of Harvard guys. Screw Harvard people, just smart guys thinking, hey,
Well, we got Facebook from Harvard.
okay, listen, Mark Zuckerberg is not going to be part of this episode. We'll throw him into the next one. But literally, these guys decided, hey, like, if I throw a ball like this where I'm spinning it, I can make people miss it. I can deceive a batter. Well, as time went along, baseball changed because baseball was supposed to just be you throw it down the middle of the plate, defense plays, and if you hit it at somebody, whatever. It's supposed to be pretty much like a T game, if people know what that is. But at the end of the day, people started evolving that from just a simple T game into where I'm going to try to throw it past you, which is just crazy in general that I think, I can throw a ball that curves. And then people are now today like throwing pitches that are just absolutely insane of magnitudes that we can't even imagine.
Well, I mean, the other part that I think is crazy about baseball is that whatever 20, 25, you can even go back 25 years ago, like hitting 95 was like insane. If you go back into like whatever 1985,
Yep.
like the amount of people throwing 95 miles per hour, like if you could throw 95 plus, you were an elite pitcher in the MLB because
Yep.
not everyone was doing that. There was very few people that were doing that. The average fastball was like 91, I think. It was like the top, like the most people are throwing like 91. Like that was considered to be a top line pitcher. Now, if you throw 91, there's a chance you don't even make it to the show. And it's just the change from year to year, from generation to generation, even is just kind of it just keeps going uphill. Like it just keeps climbing. The average fastball velocity keeps climbing. And now it's like it's rare to see a closer that doesn't throw 100 miles per hour plus. And that's kind of terrifying to think about, especially as a hitter. Like 100 miles per hour, that thing is whizzing by you. Like you don't even see it coming in half the time.
Yeah. As my good friend in the show would say it, 90 mile an hour, you could be able to see it. But when it gets past 95 miles an hour, you're not going to be able to see the seams on that ball. Honestly, though, whenever you're facing a pitcher who can throw that hard, dude, like you really can't tell. You can't tell what's going on. You have to be really, really, really locked in.
These
To be
guys
able to do
attack
that.
fastballs.
Because, all right, so I wrote an article about this, I think last week, talking about how hitters have to be really kind of prepared for that fastball. And young hitters really don't understand what they need to do because a lot of times in high school, you're facing guys who don't throw that hard. And don't throw that hard is in comparison to like 95. So like me compared to a 95-mile-an-hour thrower is I don't throw as hard as him, and I'd be way easier to hit. And then somebody who throws 72, 75, like way easier to hit, right? So the big difference is you have to get your foot down, especially whenever you're at the plate. And I think a lot of batters back in the day in like the 70s and 80s really didn't have to think about that as much. They kind of just did whatever their swing wanted to do. And they kind of like did whatever, but they still got that foot down and they had a lot more room for error. Today in baseball, if you're facing somebody who's throwing 98 to 102, you have to get your foot down. You have to get your balance point just right. So like you're getting on your back foot. You're not being on your front foot, because if you're on your front foot and you're facing a guy who's throwing 102, he obviously has a curveball too. And that curveball is going to come in at 88 and you're going to be absolutely looking stupid. So with that, you have to get your front foot down and really just be ready for that pitch and keep your weight on your back foot and really just kind of be ready to go ahead and make an approach to the baseball. Keep your hands back and look really good. I think a lot of people underestimate the amount of mental energy that goes into a baseball swing. Just because, like, if you're facing somebody like me or you, bless you. But if you're facing somebody like me or you, like, you have a little bit of lee room. You could be on your front foot and you could probably still hit a home run. But
yeah,
but if you're facing somebody like Jordan Hicks, Aroldis Chapman, throwing 102 miles an hour at you, and they can bring a slider, unless you know what's coming, Astros. But unless you know what's really coming, like, you're not going to be able to adjust to that pitch because you're going to be expecting the worst and then kind of try to get yourself ready for the worst case scenario if they throw an off-speed pitch. So,
yeah, I mean, yeah. And I think that the scary part is, like, you always hear them talk about it. The people in the minor league system, you always hear this, and you don't always know if it's true or not. But there's a ton of reports saying that basically the minor league pitching is actually harder to hit because you have all these guys that are throwing 95 to 100, but they have no aim. They don't know where that ball's going half the time. So now you're sitting and you're trying to read 95 to 100. Where a lot of these guys have plus sliders that are just dirty, but they don't know where the hell the ball's going. And it's like a different aspect of the game. And it's almost harder to hit those pitchers at some point in time. Because if you have a guy, like, that's why Chapman's act is so effective, because he's wildly effective. Mm-hmm. He doesn't walk a lot of guys, but he gets into a lot of deep counts because he will miss with pitches up in the zone, up in the zone, and then he'll drive something down, and you're just sitting like it's 103 at the shins, like that, for a strike. Like, you can't do anything with that.
No.
But that's what all the guys in the minor league system are like, because a lot of those guys that are throwing 100 miles per hour should be on a major league team. But the only issue is they don't have the control to be a major league pitcher yet.
Nope. And
major league hitters are better than minor league hitters. Obviously, there's a reason why they're in the majors and the other guys are in the minors. And they're sitting on something specific, and they're going to take more pitches, and you see a lot more chases on those bad pitches in the minor league system as well. So that's another aspect that you haven't got to look at, is the fact that it's not just those guys that are on the back end of bullpens, top end of starting rotations that throw 100 miles per hour. Mm-hmm. It's the guys in the minor league system that are also bringing in 100 miles per hour. They just aren't ready to be major league pitchers yet because they need to still develop an aspect of their game.
See, I completely agree with you. So I have one prime example of that. So I've been to a lot of minor league games, and one that really just rings with me. So many people don't know Tyrell Jenkins. He was a single-A pitcher for the Cardinals, and he was a first-round draft pick. And he went over to the Atlanta Braves in a trade, a very, I would say, infamous trade at this point, for Jason Hayward. He was a pitcher, and I'm not going to lie, that dude lit up a radar gun, probably 97 to maybe 99. And the thing was about him, if he could hit the strike zone, he was lights out. He would throw 7 innings, shut out, and it would be stupid. But the thing is, sometimes he wouldn't be able to even get it near the zone, and he'd throw 3 innings, and it would just look stupid. because he would have no idea where the ball's going. If he would know where that ball's going every single time, he would have been a major league pitcher in a heartbeat, and nobody would have stopped him. He would have been one of the top 10 pitchers in the major leagues. And I think a lot of people don't understand that a lot of people in the minor leagues have that moment where they can be a top 10 pitcher in the major leagues at any given moment. But the thing is that really kills them is the consistency. And you don't see that nearly as much, and it's hard to see. And that makes it even harder for minor league batters because it doesn't really give you a full grip of what they can do. Because, like I said before, and honestly, like a good example of this was I was talking to Stephen Piscotty before. I met him at a convention in my college town because he was just there for just a caravan thing. And I was talking to him. I said, like, so what is your one key whenever you're facing a guy who throws 100 miles an hour? He's like, I just get my foot down. I get my foot down, and I get my foot down, and I can maybe get my bat to the ball. I was like, that doesn't sound very hopeful, but okay. But I think that kind of goes back to what I've been saying, though. Like, you get your foot down.
Back to what John said.
Yeah, even more so if you listen to our last episode, that it kind of goes back to what John said. You get your foot down, you're ready for the pitch no matter what happens. And you say, all right, if it's a slider, I can hold my hands back a little bit, lose a lot of power, and just flick it off opposite field and say, I got a single on that pitch. But if you're ready for that fastball, dude, you can just mash that thing. Because you got to be ready for it. And that kind of goes back even more so, like what I said before, like to my article that I wrote about Nolan Jones. That dude at times has a problem with adjusting with fastballs because when he faces guys who throws hard, he just like brings his foot down late. He has a high late kick and he brings it down late and he has a hard time adjusting with that. And he's really late on just fastballs in general. When it's an off-speed pitch, he handles it fine. But whenever it's a fastball, late. And I think a lot of people really don't appreciate that part of the game. They don't really see what goes on inside a batter's mind with that.
No, definitely. I mean, it's just with any sport. Like, you never really know what's going through someone's head. But what we have to do is what you can do is you can try to understand what they're doing based on what you see during the game. And that's kind of what you see. Like you see a lot of batters do this. I told you the story about David Bote last week, the story about him where he goes, I think they're going to pitch me down. So I'm looking for a pitch down, get under the ball, get in the air, drive it to center field. Well, you can see that with hitters. You can see that with pitchers. You can see if I'm a pitcher, I'm a sinker ball pitcher. I throw whatever, 60% sinkers, 20% curveball, 20% changeup. As a bullpen guy, that's 3 pitches I have. And if I'm a sinker guy, my job and what I'm trying to do to most hitters is I'm going to try to keep that ball down in the zone and try to get them to hit something on the ground. That is my mentality going in. And maybe every once in a while, I might try to sneak a high fastball in to just throw them off. But for the most part, I'm going to be down in the zone. And you see hitters come to the plate, and they know this. They know everyone in the majors. They know what everyone else can throw. Like, there's no surprises. Like, when you're facing Max Scherzer, you know what's coming. It's just which of his pitches is coming. But you know what he's trying to do. And you just try to sit on a pitch, and you try to figure out what he's going to do, and you try to counteract that. So if he's going to throw a sinker down, you try to get underneath the sinker, and you try to drive it up in the air if you're trying to hit a ball for power.
With that, how you mentioned that it's really no surprise when Max Scherzer is pitching against you. Like, you know what's coming. You know his arsenal. You know he has a fastball, the curveball, the slider, the changeup.
Cutter.
Does that make him even better? Does that make him
It does almost like, but it doesn't and doesn't at the same time because, yeah, he's successful and everyone knows what he's doing, but it doesn't mean that he's better than everyone else because everyone else is successful too, or they're not successful, but the entire MLB knows what's coming when you pitch. Maybe they haven't seen you personally live, but they've seen your videos. They've done breakdowns. They've done their homework. They've seen pitchers that throw like you. They have done everything possible they can to prepare for you. And they know what's coming. They just don't know what count you're going to throw what in. That's why the pitchers that can pitch backwards. You see pitchers pitching backwards, and then they pitch forwards, and then they pitch. They'll go certain pitches in the first inning and the first time through, first certain pitches second time through, and then especially for starters, they're opening up third time through. But you see them, they have a plan, and they try to. And you see like a guy like Max Scherzer doesn't have the same plan every game. He switches up his game plan for the first time through the order every time he's in a game. Like he doesn't always go fastball slider first time through the order. He doesn't always go fastball curveball. He tries to work in different stuff the entire time through because all he's trying to do, and all pitching really is just trying to keep the hitter off balance. And he is just one of the best at doing that. He keeps hitters off balance, and he makes them miss the barrel of the bat. Like yes, he is a prolific strikeout pitcher. But for the most part, you don't see a lot. There's not a lot of pitchers that come up here except for in key situations, like late in the game, runner on third, one out, you need a strikeout. Those are about the only situations where you see a pitcher come up with the mentality, I'm striking this guy out. For the most part, the only thing the pitcher wants to do is when he comes up on the mound is I'm going to miss the barrel. That's it. If you miss the barrel, you will be successful in the MLB. I was at a showcase, whatever, my senior year of high school. And it was something that really kind of like resonated with me because it made sense with the way I pitched. Is that there was a guy, he was talking about us. He said there was a game where he gave up 5 runs, and it was just 5, there was like 5 or 6 well-hit balls into the gap. And then there was another game where he gave up like 8 or 9 runs, I think it was, on these little duck starts where they were just balls that just dropped in front of the infield, dropped in behind the outfield, in front of the outfield, behind the infield, snuck down the line, snuck through like a gap, something like that. And he was more pissed off. And honestly, he was pissed off about the other game where he gave up the 5 runs and on balls that just the other team just tagged on him. Mm-hmm. But that game, he's like, all right, that's how baseball wins. I did my job. I gave up a ton of runs, but I did what I wanted to do. They didn't make solid contact. And that's not going to happen every game where they're all just going to drop in. So I guess that's kind of part of pitching that most people don't always understand is that they see all these high strikeout numbers go, oh, that guy's great. And you look at Kyle Hendricks, he doesn't really get a lot of strikeouts, but he's one of the more successful pitchers in the league because he just gets weak contact. And there's 2 different mentalities to pitch.
So the biggest thing that I have to say, I faced 2 pitchers, one who's definitely going to be an MLB pitcher someday, and one who is right now. Out of those guys, the biggest thing that I noticed the difference of is they really don't care if you make contact or not. They say, this is what I do, and if you can hit it, good. All right, whatever. I don't think the guy behind you can hit it. I believe in myself. So the one guy who I faced in high school was I was a freshman, and his name was Sam Coonrod. He's a relief pitcher for the San Francisco Giants right now. And that dude was absolutely filthy. Kind of like you said, like they just don't care. You just like go up there and you just don't care about what you're doing, and you just kind of just are just a stud. And it's like whatever. Another guy who I faced too was Reed Detmers. And this guy was like way different than any other pitcher I've ever faced in my life. So I was a senior and he was a freshman. And I swear to God, this kid's curveball was one of the best curveballs I've ever seen in my life. Like you can like go into an at bat, and I always think like whenever I would go into a bat, I said, I'm going to find a fastball. I'm going to hit it. And this kid like knew exactly what I was thinking. And he just curveball. He saw my first swing. All right, he's definitely got some fastball. Curveball. And he's like, still got some fastball. I was like, he has to throw a fastball sometime, right? And then curveball, strike 3. I was like, what? Like, what? In high school, like, I didn't think on that level, but I think even in the major leagues, you could have guys like Max Scherzer who could easily tell. He's like, all right, that guy's definitely guessing like that I'm throwing a fastball right here. So slider, and he throws a slider, and then he's like, oh, he's guessing I threw a change up there. All right, I'm gonna throw a fastball here and just whoop, right by you. And I think that pitching is just such a mind game that it's just kind of crazy. It's crazy even to think about.
Yeah, no, it definitely baseball in general is a mind game. But it's just part of the game. Oh, nice drink, dude. But it's just part of the game. It's just to think the game. You got to think through what's coming. You got to think through what like. There's so much you have to like picture in your head before you even do it. You
Yes.
gotta almost picture like this is gonna sound tacky, but you gotta picture success. You
Yeah.
have to picture yourself getting up in that box and being successful against that pitcher in that situation. Otherwise, you're never gonna do it.
Yeah, no,
And I
exactly.
guess
So, like, the biggest thing that most people really don't understand is that you really do have to picture success before you go into the plate, because before you know it, you're going to be sitting back on the bench realizing that you really messed up. And there's no room to think inside baseball. And most people really say that, but there really isn't. You can't even go out to the mound. You can't say, my plan with this batter is X. You just have to say, I trust what's about to happen. And you have a connection between A, your catcher and you, B, your catcher and your coach and you, or just see your coach, whatever. You just have a connection of some sort, and you know exactly what's about to happen. And you just say, yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. There's no really room to think. If you think any single moment in any single game, you're screwed. And that goes back to my comment about just getting your foot down. That's probably one of the biggest comments I would have to say for hitters who are young. Just get your foot down. Just get your foot down, and everything else will take care of itself. Just let your mind do what it needs to do to say, I need to get my foot down. Or if you're a pitcher, just say, I trust this pitch. Simple cues will get you to the situation where you can be successful. I think most people really don't understand that. And it's kind of difficult to really weigh that on most people's mind, because most people are thinkers about most things, and they try to say, okay, well, if this happens, I'm going to do this. If this happens, I'm going to do that. No, if somebody's throwing 95, you're just going to have to say, all right, I'm just going to swing the bat and I'm just going to hope my best. Get my foot down.
yeah,
Hope.
absolutely. Absolutely. You can't really sit there and say you can't sit there and see the pitch coming and go, all right, it's fastball, 95. I need to hit it here to hit a home run. You don't have the time to sit there and do that. You don't. You really don't.
Oh, heck no, man.
It's what makes those guys even more impressive. The guys that hit the ball for power, like that's even more impressive. Like the guys that consistently hit 30+ home runs a year, that's just it shouldn't happen. It should never happen, yet it does consistently.
I have another good story too. Maybe one that most people wouldn't really know about. So to be able to be on that kind of level in the major leagues, you got to put a lot of work in, obviously. And I knew somebody who knew somebody that knew Jason Worth, and he was from a town near mine. And a lot of people told me about what he would do to be successful. And I'm just going to have you play this game here real quick. How many swings do you think that man took in middle school and high school every single day?
3,000.
It was 1,000, but yeah. Some days would be more, some days would be less.
It's a lot. It takes 1,000 swings to make up for one bad swing.
Think about that. He took 1,000 swings a day. That's 365,000 swings. 366 on a leap year, of course, but I think a lot of people underestimate the amount of work that you have to do to be a hitter on that level, because he would just put in a crazy amount of work. And also he was an incredible athlete. Like both of his parents were athletes, because his dad was played in the major leagues and his mom was a track athlete. But still, to have that consistent swing where you constantly get in the groove to be able to put your foot down and meet a ball that's going 95 miles an hour with a round bat and the ball's round and just even have a chance. That's what you had to do.
Baseball's not designed to be a weak man sport.
No.
It's not. You have to be mentally strong to be able to play baseball because it's frustrating as hell. There is no part of the game that is not frustrating. Like, the fact is, like, I mean, obviously, you know this. You played the MLB The Show, the video game. You can hit there's nothing more frustrating than hitting a perfect line drive. You squared that thing up to center field for a line out. And that happens all the time in the MLB. There are plenty of balls that get hit. Obviously, going back to exit velocity, not end all be all, but if you hit a ball 105 miles an hour, you squared that thing up. And it's a line out to the left fielder. Or maybe the left fielder makes a diving play in the gap. Like, those are just frustrating as hell. Like, it's just frustrating. And you have to be able to get back to your next at bat and just remember, like, not be like, oh, shoot, I got out last at bat. I need to do something different now to get on base. No, You squared a baseball up. You did everything right. Sit there and just do repeat the approach. Repeat your approach because it works. Your approach is working. Repeat it. And then if you get down to the count, you look stupid, you have to be able to adjust mid-at-bat. And that's a hard thing to do. That's a hard concept for a lot of people to recover from, is the fact that the hardest thing in baseball is you have to make adjustments in game, in inning, in
per pitch.
I don't know, per pitch even. Like the per pitch, like the in between inning adjustments aren't as hard because you have all the other people talking to you, all the other coaches talking to you, your teammates talking to you. People are having a conversation about what you did right and what you did wrong. When you're in pitch, in at bat, it's just you. You have to know how to make those adjustments by yourself. And that is the hardest thing for a lot of guys to do.
I completely agree. Most people in general don't really put in like enough reps to really understand what goes on in between per pitch, per rep, per whatever. And guys like Max Scherzer, like, I just go back to him. And I've watched him before his pitch and before every single thing that happens. And that man just, like, believes. He just, like, believes so strongly that he's going to make the best pitch that he's ever had in his life at that moment, at that given time, to that given batter, in that exact moment. He just believes so hard that whatever pitch he throws is going to be his best pitch. And that's just crazy. That's probably the reason why he's so good.
He throws everything with intent. That's why he's so good. Every single pitch he throws, he has max intent.
Yeah.
He also has two different colored eyes that makes him look a little bit crazier. There's
maybe he's crazy.
That aspect too. He might be a little crazy.
Schizophrenic?
Could be. I mean, we will never know, I guess, but I'm not going to ask him. You do it. You call him. You got his number?
I don't want to call him.
We're stuck on that one.
I don't want to call him. He'll come through the phone and grab my neck and say, "What'd you say about me?" And I'll be like, nothing, man. I'm sorry. He's the best pitcher in the game. Sorry.
Oh, he is.
Anybody.
He is him, DeGrom, different level.
DeGrom doesn't have that psychoness. DeGrom is very
DeGrom
cool.
He's calm. He's calm but unreal. He is very calm on the mound. He has a calm demeanor, but he doesn't make a lot of mistakes.
No.
That's his big thing is Scherzer's very successful, but he does miss pitches over the middle of the plate. He misses fastballs over the middle of the plate, but he's also throwing 97 with a very wacky delivery. It looks even harder coming out of his hand, and it works. DeGrom is very fluid, very flush, and he doesn't make a lot of mistakes.
Also, Scherzer will grunt a lot.
Oh, yeah. He grunts a ton. His grunt works better than Craig's.
R.I.P. For anybody that doesn't know, if you throw below 90 miles an hour and you grunt, a.k.a. Our friend Craig, He knows who he is. But if you grunt and you throw below 90 miles an hour, doesn't look good. If you're Max Scherzer and you're
Bad
throwing
luck.
98 and you just go out there and you just, okay, tip the cap and you say, yes, sir.
I'm gonna go sit back on the dugout. I'm gonna go sit
Yeah.
back in the dugout on the bench. Done. It's over.
You
I'm
want
not
this
hitting that.
pitch. Whatever happens there, you want it really, really bad. And you're really, really trying. You probably put that ball exactly where you want it to. So, all right, I'm going to go sit down in the dugout.
Yeah. Pitchers, man. Pitchers are a different breed.
Amen on that one.
We are a different breed. There's some weird dudes that pitch.
You're not wrong.
There's some crazy dudes that pitch.
You're definitely not wrong.
You see it everywhere. It's in the college level, the college bullpens. Some of the dumbest things you could possibly imagine happening happen down there. And it's hysterical. It's absolutely hysterical. Like, we just sit down there, play catch with a football. We'll run routes in the bullpen and bang each other into, like, our fences and stuff. Like, we're not always the brightest. The weighted ball stuff, like, people grunting and throwing weighted balls into a wall, like, happens on a daily basis.
Not for reason.
Oh, no, for no reason. We just do it because it's funny.
Yes.
We do it for reasons later, but there's parts of, like, before the game starts, or, I mean, at least at our bullpen, we would do opposite hand bullpen pitching, where we would have a bunch of righties throwing left-handed, and then I would catch being a left-hander. And we would have, like, an umpire. We would make this, like, super aggressive thing. And then at one point, we thought it would be a good idea to use what was it called? Shoot, what's that thing that Followall had?
Oh, the body blade.
Yeah, we used a body blade for a bat, so we were having a hitter in there too. So we're not always the brightest, but we do what we're supposed to do, and we always have fun doing it. And when it comes to actual game time situations, we know how to pitch, and that's all we need to know how to do. And yeah, we're savages sometimes, but I mean, we get the job done, and we understand what hitters are trying to do to us for the most part. And I mean, we just kind of hope that they don't know what's going on with us. I mean, Logan was the king of doing that. No one knew what the hell he was doing.
Not even myself. If I knew what I was doing, maybe we'd be in some danger. Maybe I'd throw a no-hitter that day. But that would only last for like 4 innings. But
with your 6 walks.
No, that'd be the 5th inning. You know that. There's a story behind that. That's not for today, but a lot of times, like, the bullpen guys, like, we're just fun people. Yeah, and just like
it's not just the bullpen guys, it's the whole staff. We all hang out together down there.
Staff in general, yeah, because
staffleets.
You gotta have fun.
You gotta enjoy your time being out there. Enjoy your time being with your friends, with your teammates. I mean, it is a band of brothers. I mean,
oh yeah.
Yeah, so, like, you enjoy being with the guys. You want to have fun being with them. That's just kind of part of the game of baseball, and that's another aspect that really brings it to the talent level too. You're a better team when you have fun playing with the guys, because you will have a more reason to go out there and be successful, because you want to do it for them. It's not just for you now.
And you're also not thinking about it too. Like, before a game, you're not just sitting in the bullpen saying, like, man, I can't wait for this game. This game is the best thing that's ever happened to me. You're in the bullpen throwing left-handed to a left-handed catcher who has an umpire behind him. And there's a batter who's also a pitcher who's swinging a body blade. You're like, all right, yeah, I'm not really nearly too worried about this game. Like, I'm having fun. And that's really what baseball is all about.
Or like 2-ball. You were horrible at 2-ball. You were horrible.
I blew my back out in 2-ball, but that's not for today. And we can't ever tell the coach that, because he'd be really upset. My back was ruined. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's so much stuff that you don't see that goes on as part of, like, the actual game, that, like, it's the reason why a lot of us are out here. It's the reason why a lot of us play as long as we do. It's because we like being around the guys that are on our team with us. We have fun being with them. So we keep playing for them. And if you have a coach that you like playing for too, that's even better. That's another plus. But like the reason why you play baseball is not because you're good at baseball. Otherwise, there are plenty of guys that I grew up with, you probably grew up with, that were very good baseball players that quit after high school or quit going into high school even.
I
But
love it.
you got to have a love for the game. You got to enjoy what you do. And
Yeah,
that's with every job, but especially with baseball. You got to enjoy what you do. Otherwise, you're never going to be as successful as you want to be.
absolutely. I think that is pretty good for this episode.
Yeah, I think that's about all we got for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Obviously, make sure you guys come watch us on YouTube.
First
You get to see
episode out here.
us doing what we do this is what we do every week, but you guys get to see it now for the first kind of almost like a little insight into what we do. Obviously, we did not plan wearing we did not plan wearing the same style hat. It's just kind of happened.
No, we definitely
not plan
did.
this.
We both wear the same hat because we asked each other what hat we were wearing.
I don't think we did. I just think this just happened. It's just
I
what I had
asked him
sitting on
what
my
hat he was
couch.
wearing.
You did? What was this?
And he said my Columbia PFG, and I said, odd. I'm gonna wear my Columbia PFG.
Well, make sure you guys make sure you guys keep tuning in on Spotify, Apple. What was the other one you said earlier? Your mom's
We have Anchor.
Radio?
We have Good Pods. We got it all. We got the Gambit. We got anything you ever want. If you ever need something that you want to listen to us on, let us know, and we can tell you if we're on it or not. And if we're not, we can get on it.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you guys for tuning in today.
Amen.